Stop explaining yourself to people who don't get it. Jim Rohn, Motivation. In life, one of the most draining habits that many people fall into is constantly trying to explain themselves to others who simply do not understand, do not care, or do not share the same vision. Jim Rohn, the great philosopher of personal development, often reminded us that life is too short to waste on people who refuse to see the truth, who refuse to see the effort, and who refuse to grow alongside us. He believed that energy is a limited resource, and when we invest that energy in trying to convince people who are not interested in understanding us, we lose valuable time. We lose clarity, and we lose the power to focus on those who do matter. Think about it. Every time you explain your dreams to someone who only sees limitations, you're planting seeds in barren soil. Every time you try to justify your choices to someone who has no interest in personal growth, you're giving away your power. And every time you defend your path to someone who has never even stepped out of their comfort zone, you're wasting breath that could be used to climb higher. Jim Rohn taught us that life is about surrounding ourselves with people who lift us higher, people who understand the value of dreams, discipline, and growth. The truth is, not everyone is meant to understand you. Not everyone is meant to agree with you. And certainly, not everyone is meant to walk with you. If you keep explaining yourself to people who don't get it, you'll never have the time to actually live the life you're explaining. Now, why do people fall into this trap of over-explaining? Often it comes from insecurity, from a deep need for validation, and from the fear of being misunderstood. We want to be liked, we want to be accepted, and we want everyone to applaud our decisions. But as Jim Rohn would say, life doesn't work like that. Some people will always criticize you no matter what you do. Some will always doubt you, not because of who you are, but because of their own limitations. Some will always mock your dreams, not because your dream is impossible, but because they have given up on theirs. That's why you must learn to stand firm in your convictions, to believe in your vision, and to act with certainty even when the crowd does not approve. Explaining yourself to the wrong people is like arguing with a wall. You can talk all day, but nothing changes. Instead of draining yourself trying to win their approval, you must remind yourself that your purpose is bigger than their opinions. Your responsibility is not to convince them, but to become the best version of yourself. Your responsibility is not to prove them wrong, but to prove yourself right. Jim Rohn often emphasized the power of association. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. This principle directly connects with the idea of not explaining yourself to people who don't get it. If you spend your time surrounded by small minds, you'll constantly be forced to shrink your dreams to fit their understanding. If you surround yourself with complainers, you'll always feel the need to defend your ambition. If you surround yourself with doubters, you'll always be questioned, ridiculed, and misunderstood. But when you find the right circle, the right mentors, and the right peers, suddenly you don't have to explain yourself anymore. They get it. They see your vision because they have visions of their own. They understand discipline because they practice it too. They respect your hustle because they know what it takes. That's why Jim Rohn always urged us to choose our associations wisely. When you walk with lions, you don't have to explain why you're hunting. But when you walk with sheep, you'll always have to explain why you refuse to settle for grass. So how do you break free from the trap of over-explaining? First, you must accept that not everyone is meant to understand your journey. People only see life through the lens of their own experiences. If someone has never built a business, they won't understand why you spend late nights working. If someone has never disciplined themselves, they won't understand why you skip parties to study or train. If someone has never dreamed big, they won't understand why you refuse to settle for mediocrity. And that's okay. They don't have to understand. You don't owe them an explanation. Your dreams are yours, not theirs. Your discipline is yours, not theirs. Your life is yours, not theirs. The moment you stop seeking approval from people who are not walking your path, you free yourself. You free your time, your energy, and your spirit to focus on what truly matters, becoming the person you were meant to be. Jim Rohn would often say, maturity begins the day you stop apologizing for who you are. You do not owe the world an apology for dreaming big. You do not owe the world an apology for wanting more. You do not owe the world an apology for working hard, for thinking differently, or for refusing to settle. And you certainly do not owe the world an explanation for why you choose growth over comfort. The people who criticize you are often the people who are secretly intimidated by you. Your discipline exposes their laziness. Your ambition exposes their complacency. Your growth exposes their stagnation. And instead of improving themselves, they try to drag you down to their level. That's why explaining yourself to them is pointless. They don't want to understand you. They want to stop you. They don't want to support you. They want to discourage you. They don't want to clap for you. They want you to quit so they can feel better about not trying. That's why the best response is silence. Let your success be the explanation. Let your results speak. Let your life prove what your words cannot. The truth is, the people who matter don't need your explanations. They already understand. They already support you. They already believe in you. And the people who don't matter will never believe you, no matter how much you explain. So why waste your time? Jim Rohn encouraged us to live intentionally, to guard our time and to invest our energy wisely. Every moment you spend trying to explain yourself to someone who doesn't care is a moment stolen from your growth. Every word you use to justify yourself to someone who won't listen is a word you could have used to inspire someone who will. Every breath wasted on the wrong crowd is a breath you could have used to build your dream. You must learn to let go, to walk away, to keep moving forward without the need for approval. That's real freedom. That's real confidence. And that is real power. Remember, the greatest achievers in history were always misunderstood. When Edison was experimenting with the light bulb, many thought he was wasting his time. When the Wright brothers were building airplanes, people laughed at the idea of humans flying. When innovators, dreamers, and leaders choose to walk a new path, they will always be doubted by the crowd. If those men had spent their lives explaining themselves to people who didn't get it, we would have no light bulbs, no airplanes, no progress. The same principle applies to your life. If you spend all your energy defending your dreams to small minds, you'll never have the energy left to make them real. Don't argue. Don't explain. Just work. Just build. Just prove. And in the end, your results will silence every critic. Jim Rohn also reminded us that life is a personal journey. Work harder on yourself than you do on your job. That means your focus should be on growth, not on convincing others. When you work on yourself, when you grow your skills, your discipline, your mindset, and your vision, you won't need to explain yourself. Your results will speak louder than any words. The best explanation is transformation. The best argument is success. The best defense is becoming undeniable. People may doubt your words, but they cannot doubt your results. And that's why you must stop explaining and start executing. Stop defending and start doing. Stop convincing and start achieving. In conclusion, Jim Rohn's message is clear. Stop explaining yourself to people who don't get it. It's not your job to convince the unwilling. It's not your duty to make the blind see. It's not your responsibility to carry those who refuse to walk. Your only responsibility is to live your life fully, to pursue your dreams boldly and to grow relentlessly. When you do that, the right people will understand, the wrong people will disappear, and your life will become the explanation you'll ever need. Remember, silence is often stronger than words. Growth is louder than arguments. Success is the best revenge. And the moment you stop explaining yourself, you start living for yourself. That's the essence of freedom. That's the power of self-belief. And that is what Jim Rohn wanted us to understand. Life is too precious to waste on those who don't get it. So stop explaining and start becoming.